Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hari Bol, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Jalam, Jai Shri Ram. Firstly, Happy New Year to all of you. I hope you all had good holidays and your 2023, all your dream comes true. Some of you want to start a new business. Some of you want to lose weight. Some of you want to get married. Whatever, I hope all the best for that. On behalf of Lohana community, North London, I want to welcome you all to Gita classes today. Firstly, I want to thank Kunal Kotecha. He is a very busy man. To try and find time in his busy schedule and coming here, we are grateful. And I will learn something new as well. I also want to thank our sponsors for today, Kishorba and Sudhaben. Thank you very much. This Gita classes started last April. We had the idea from Divesh and Bhavisa, our committee member. Bhavisa always wants to bring some new ideas, and one of them was this. And over the last year, we've enjoyed the classes, and many of them are Jyotiben Joshi, who's helped us throughout the year, Hina Gadhia, who's sponsored Bhupender Bhai, Kakar, Narendra Bhai, they all brought items in every event, and special thanks to Divesh and Bhavisa and Jyotiben, who's always been there. But as an LCNL president, I'm very proud of our activity team. Can all the members stand up? And I want to say something. We got Pratibha, we got Sarju, we got Sadhana, we got Bhavisa, we got Dhirubhai, we got Rishi, who is not here. They brought us so many different events, and one of them is this Gitaji. And I hope we continue next year. And everybody enjoyed it, so many different events. So say thank you to all our activity teams. Just coming back to LCNL, we have Sivratri coming next. That's our next event, which is here at this particular venue on Saturday week, 18th of February. Sanje, same thing, 6 થી 7 ફરાળ હશે, 6:30 થી 7 and 7:30 વાગ્યા પછી there'll be puja by Sri Piyushbhai Sastri, Piyushbhai Mehta, Puja Piyushbhai Mehta. So everybody is welcome. Then on 12th of March, we have our young committee, YLS, have organized Hodi at RCT. So all the youngsters, if you have any children, you should go and meet other youngsters. And the final big event is on 26th of March, our AGM. I have 56 days left as a president. So, yeah. But the main thing is anybody wants to stand in any position, if you want to take part, serve the community, Mahila Mandal, YLS, please speak to Meena Ben, speak to Gita Ben, me, Yatin Bhai, any of us. And that's it. Finally, before I finish, I'm going to read a quote from Gitaji. I think it's from Gitaji. તમને કામ કરવાનો અધિકાર છે, પરંતુ કામનો ફળ માટે ક્યારેય નહીં. તમને કામ કરવાનો અધિકાર છે, પરંતુ કામના ફળનો અધિકાર ખાલી તમારા પત્નીને જ છે. ભગવાન શ્રી કૃષ્ણ કહે છે કે કોઈ મનુષ્ય ભગવાન શ્રી કૃષ્ણ કહે છે કે કોઈ મનુષ્ય ભાગવત ગીતાને ગંભીરતાથી વાંચે છે તો તે ગત જન્મના પાપનો નાશ થાય છે. જે બન્યું તે સારા માટે બન્યું છે, જે થયું તે સારા માટે થયું છે, જે બનશે તે સારા માટે થશે. Thank you for listening. Stay safe and healthy.
Jai Shri Krishna. So thank you, Dinesh Bhai, for the kind introduction. Thank you, Fatih Ben. Thank you, Bhavisha Ben. Thank you, Divyesh Bhai. Thank you, everyone, the committee, the members. It seems like such a vibrant team that the Lohana community North London have here. So I feel very honoured to be part of this community. I feel very honoured to be given the opportunity to speak here. When I was asked last year by Divyesh Bhai to come and speak at the RCT, I was feeling, wow, all these years I wondered what it meant to be a Lohana. And now I get to come to the Lohana community events and speak, so it's very nice. I remember when I was younger, I thought being a Lohana meant you get the priority tickets for Chizik Garba. You know, and that was like, oh, you get Chizik tickets. I get Chizik tickets because I'm a Louis. I'm a Louis. So, and now being a Louis has got me to sit here. So this is very, So it's, as they say, we are descendants of Lord Ram. My dad keeps reminding me, this is what it means to be a Lohana. So thank you all for inviting me and reminding me how fortunate we are to be in this community. Over the last 20 odd years, I guess, 22 years, I've been in touch with the Hare Krishna movement. So on my journey, trying to think and wonder about where is my path, where am I going to find God. I came across the Hare Krishna community. I mean, I started going to the temple in 1998. My aunt got married there. That was my first time, my foi. It was her wedding. And I remember going to the temple thinking, wow, it's a temple and there's white people. So, whoa, this is interesting, this is new. And then I went again in 99 for Janmashtami. Maybe I can say I'm a bit embarrassed, but I think I went there just to see if I could find a girlfriend. My wife's not here, and hopefully she won't listen to the recording. And then in 2001, my kaki, she got diagnosed with cancer, and at that time I felt I need some answers, because as I was growing up, just seeing death. Every few years I saw death, and nothing made sense to me. Nothing made sense. One person who passed away was my younger cousin. When I was only 7 or 8 years old, she was like 6 years old in a car accident. And I just thought to myself, isn't death meant to be for old people? You know, and for me, that was probably the first introduction to death. My introduction to death was my younger cousin passing away, someone who I used to play with, and someone who I had a lot of fond interactions with. And as the years went by and my grandfather passed away and other relatives passed away, I began to think that actually, whatever we are looking for in life, whatever we are doing day to day, must have a deeper meaning. There must be something beyond just trying to become rich, just trying to become known, just trying to become recognized, just trying to have the big house and the big car. There must be something more, because all these things are not satisfying everyone. So going to the temple in 2001, when my aunt got diagnosed with cancer, I think that was the final straw for me. Like, okay, I need answers to all of this, because I just thought, hey, this isn't really fair. And I remember going to the temple saying, so now what's happening? You know, like my aunt's been diagnosed with cancer. She's got 2 young kids. They're about 9 and 7. And it doesn't seem right. You know, it doesn't quite seem right. Can I get some answers? Can I get some answers to why bad things happen to good people? I need some answers to this. And as the years went by, I've been studying the Bhagavad Gita, and I'm very fortunate to be able to share some of what I've learned with all of you today, and hopefully we can have some discussion on what Krishna and Arjuna are talking about. So what we'll do, I think what we'll do before we actually start the talk is we'll just chant a little prayer. If you know the prayer, please feel free to sing along and join along. Otherwise, please close your eyes and try and meditate on the transcendental sound vibration, and try and become really present. I know we've got lots of things to do. I know there's emails pending. The WhatsApps are going. Some of you nowadays, even though you're older than me, are on more social media than I am. ખબર છે ટ્વિટરમાં શું આવ્યું? You know, so if we can be really present, because this is one thing. During this conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, Arjuna was on a battlefield. He saw his relatives all in front of him. Some of my relatives were just there. And the thing with Arjuna is he had to kill them. I just have to be nice to them. He had to kill his relatives, and that was something he felt so confused. And what then happened, this conversation took place and he became very present in the conversation despite what was going on around him. So what we're going to ask is if you humbly become present in the room and really try and tune into the sound vibration and then tune in to the Bhagavad Gita. And let the Bhagavad Gita speak to you and let the Bhagavad Gita become alive in your hearts because it's there, it's just ready, and Krishna wants to reciprocate with all of us, and that reciprocation is exactly what it says on the tin. It's reciprocation, and reciprocation means he will reciprocate with our attention. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you very much. So we've invited our spiritual teachers, we've invited the Supreme Lord to bless us so that we can really focus. Krishna says to Arjuna in the 10th chapter, Tushanti cha ramanti cha, that this conversation, when devotees speak about me, that they will take great delight. So we can have great delight speaking about Krishna and hearing about Krishna. The devotional process is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. So Shravanam means we hear, Kirtanam means we speak, and Smaranam is remembrance. So by hearing about Krishna and by speaking about Krishna, this is what we're doing. I'm doing some Kirtanam, you're doing some Shravanam. And by doing this Shravanam and Kirtanam in this room, the transcendental sound vibration is going around. Everyone focusing and putting their energy means all this energy is going into Krishna together in congregation. So then what happens is we'll invoke a higher energy. And by invoking this higher energy, we will all get Smaranam. We'll all get remembrance of Krishna more and more and more. Why do we want remembrance of Krishna? We want remembrance of Krishna because this is the advice that he gives to Arjuna. He says to Arjuna, I'm going to tell you a secret. And he says, this secret, he says this towards the end of the 18th chapter. He says, this secret is like, you know what, Arjuna, there's something I told you already in the 9th chapter. But just in case you forgot, I'm going to tell you again. And he doesn't really repeat himself. If you've seen the Bhagavad Gita, he doesn't repeat himself. But Krishna says this again. He says, Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyajimam namaskuru. He says, remember me, become my devotee, offer your homage unto me, pay obeisances to me, always think of me. So the reason we want to remember Krishna is because Krishna is telling Arjuna that if you remember me, your problems will not feel like problems. He doesn't say your problems will go away. When we took birth here, that's problem. Birth, old age, disease and death are the four symptomatic problems of the material world, as Krishna tells Arjuna. So when we're born, the problems start. We don't think so because we think, oh, baby's so cute, but baby's not having a fun time. Baby's not having a fun time, not being able to evacuate by itself. Baby's not having a fun time, having to cry its head off to explain to the mother that they've got a stomach ache, and mummy, stop eating that, because if you feed me that milk when you're eating that, I'm going to get a stomach ache. So all baby does is just cry and cry and cry. But baby isn't happy. And what we are thinking as the parents is, why can't this kid just be quiet? I remember thinking that when my babies were born. I'm like, why can't you just relax, you know? And I remember after the second, I've got 2 daughters, and I remember after the second one, I said to my wife, no more. This is it. But the thing is that, but it's not, the baby is not having a fun time whilst begging for what they cannot communicate. Birth, old age isn't exactly riveting, because old age means things are starting to wear and tear. Things are starting to wear and tear. I remember one of my friends told me, once you turn 40, you'll notice the difference. And he was around 58 at the time, and I was probably about 35. And then, and so he had passed 60 by the time I turned 40. And I said to him, oh my God, you're so right. You know, there's all these different things. I can't play football anymore. Because every time I go to the football pitch, I need like 3 days to recover. Before, it's just you come home, you sleep, and you wake up in the morning and you get on with your day. Now it's you come home and you're just gone for like 2-3 days. So now the only time I get to play football is if my wife's gone to see her family in Kenya, and I know I can like spare 2 or 3 days for one football match, which is 1.5 hours. Because of all that time taken to recover. So I know I don't have to deal with the kids. So this is old age, and I'm 41, and I'm already feeling, so some of you, none of you actually look older than me, but some of you may be older than me. And you may be feeling it a little more. Disease, even when we get a cold. Did anyone get COVID? I remember when I got COVID for some time, I was like, this is it, I can't get out of bed. I just can't. And I remember at that time I thinking, will I ever be able to get out of bed? You know, that feeling, that's disease, and then death. So this is the material world. Problems will be there. Problems will be there. What Krishna says to Arjuna is, you need to learn how to navigate your problems in a holistic way. Don't think that having a problem has come to you should be your problem. Like sometimes what happens at home is my wife may have some request. I'm putting it politely. She may have some request. And that request may not sound like a request, and it may sound like a complaint. Anyone go through this? So I'm not. Yeah. Anyway, we'll do that another day. So then what happens? Because I know a problem is arising, how do I deal with that? And generally, what I do incorrectly is I make the problem worse because I'm worried that a problem is coming. You know, and already I'm making the problem worse by saying, well, why do you have to start something now? You know, even that happened when I was just leaving for this event. She started to say something, not now, I've got to go. But that's the immediate thing is I don't want a problem to come to me. And once it comes to me, why me? You know, like, why did this have to happen to me? And Krishna is saying to Arjuna, don't think like that. Because problems are part of taking birth in this material world. Taking birth in this world means problems are going to come. People are going to let us down. We cannot expect human beings who have got the same faults as we do to not let us down, because we are letting ourselves down. So if we are letting ourselves down, how can it not be that someone else will let us down? And if we can become a bit more aware, we understand, and Krishna is telling Arjuna to become aware of himself, we are also letting others down. It's happening. The world, it's happening like this. We're letting others down, people are letting us down, we're letting ourselves down. And then what happens is sometimes we're able to see things with a higher vision, and sometimes we let the lower nature take over. What is the lower nature? The lower nature is, and Krishna is explaining this in the 17th chapter, because the chapters we're covering today is the 17th and 18th chapter. Krishna is explaining to Arjuna that actually everything you're doing, and he's carrying on from what he said in chapter 14, is in the three gunas, sattva, rajas and tama. The mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance. And he's saying everything you're doing can be done in the lower modes, which is passion and ignorance, or it can be done in a higher mode, which is the mode of goodness. So for example, when you are driving your car, are you driving your car in mode of goodness, mode of passion, or mode of ignorance? So mode of goodness driving is you have left in good time. You give way to someone if they want to indicate and they want to come in front of you, no problem. You can, and you have a destination to get to. And you are not getting frustrated in your journey. So whatever mode we are in, if we want to know which mode we are in, just think about what symptom are you feeling. If you are feeling some sense of happiness, regulation, and contentment, we're in the mode of goodness. If we are feeling frustration, we are in the mode of passion. And if we're feeling a little delusional, mad, angry, we're in the mode of ignorance. And this can be said for all the different things that we do. Whether it's driving, whether it's when we're studying for an exam, whether it's when we're going in for an interview, whether it's when we're doing any of our dharmic occupations. We have so many dharmas. We have the dharma of being a husband or wife, a mother or father, a son or daughter, a brother or sister. We have the dharma of listening to our boss if we have a boss. If we don't have a boss, then we think, yes, I'm my own boss. But then, as Dinesh Uncle just went out, you have to listen to your clients. He was on a client call. So there's always someone. There's always someone that we are accountable to in our different dharmas. And Krishna is saying to Arjuna in this culmination of the Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja. He's saying to Arjuna, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, just give up all these other dharmas, Mam Ekam, me only, Sharanam Raja, take shelter of me. Now, when he's saying give up your other dharmas, he's not saying, Arjun, leave the battle, don't fight, run away, and just hang out with me. He's not saying that to Arjun. He's saying to Arjun, do your duty, but don't do your duty just for yourself. Do your duty, but do it for... What were you going to say? It sounded good to me. Do it for others. Exactly. Do your duty, do it for others. Don't be attached to the results of your duty. Don't be attached to the result of your actions. Because if we do our duty being attached to the results, what does that mean? It means we are going to feel frustration. It means... So he says to Arjun, do your duty, but don't be attached to the result. Why? Because that's the mode of goodness. That's sattva gun. Why is it important to do your duty without being attached to the result? Because life is about more than the result. He's not saying to Arjuna, win this war. Some people say, how can the Bhagavad Gita be on a battlefield? Some people come and say, is your religion a fighting religion? Is your religion like a terrorism religion where you're having a fight, a war, and your God is telling someone else to fight? But in the Bhagavad Gita, can we see one bit of hate speech? No. Can we see one bit of negative, what's the word I'm looking for? Condescending. No, let's say again. Condescending. Yeah. Is Krishna? I got a C in English. Wasn't. Was he being condescending? Is he speaking in a condescending way? No. He's trying to uplift Arjuna's consciousness. Why? Because when we do the right thing, we will find happiness in doing the right thing. By doing the right thing, and by then leaving the results to Krishna, Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja, having taken shelter of Krishna as the one who will have the last say, then we will be happy. God helps those who helps themselves. We know this saying, God helps those who helps themselves. If we help ourselves, God will help us. Now the problem we feel is, I've helped myself, but God isn't helping me. Do we feel like that ever? When? Does anyone want to give an example? I've given so many of mine. Does anyone want to give an example? When have we helped? Yeah, go on, come.
You work hard for your boss and you don't get a pay rise.
Yeah. One of my ex-bosses is here, I should say. So you work hard for your boss, but you don't get a pay rise. Yeah. And when we work, yeah? Same thing. We work hard and we want the result. But when we work because we want that pay rise, and then the pay rise doesn't come, we feel frustration. So that means that when we were doing the work, we had a result in mind. And Krishna is saying to Arjuna, don't work with a result in mind. Just work for the sake of working. Work because work is good for you. Now when he says work, it's not specific to your job where you go for your 9 to 5. Work means your different duties. That could be being a father, being a mother. It could be your duty in your community, your duty in society, your duty to the environment, all the different duties and dharmas that we have. But do it for the sake of doing it because it's the right thing to do. And he's saying to Arjuna, if you do it because it's the right thing to do, then you will feel happiness. That's how we will feel the happiness. Not if we're trying to get the result. Because the result the result is never going to be enough anyway. Even if we get the result that we were looking for. I remember once when I was working in a particular job and I got a pay rise. And when I got the pay rise, I was so happy. I was so happy. It was a £4,000 pay rise. I'd only been in that company for 5 or 6 months. And I was thinking, wow. And then one of my colleagues who'd only been around maybe 1 or 2 months more got 7,000. So my 4,000 meant nothing within 5 minutes. 5 minutes, it was the best pay rise in the world. And then when he told me he got 7,000, I thought I got the worst pay rise. Why? Because I compared myself to someone else. Everything became about the result, and then I felt frustration. So how do we work for the sake of working? We work along with, and Krishna's making this really clear to Arjuna. He's saying to Arjuna, you're a Kshatriya, you're a warrior, and because you're a Kshatriya and you're a warrior, you're a protector. And as a protector, you need to protect the good from evil. And Duryodhan, if Duryodhan took over the kingdom, which is what he wanted to do, then it would have become an evil society. Society would not have been run in the right way. So he's saying to Arjuna that your duty is to protect Dharma. And you need to protect society. So therefore, Uttishta Bharata, you must get up and fight. You must do your duty. Because Krishna says to Arjuna, don't be attached to not doing your duty. Don't be attached to not doing your duty. So it's a fine balance. Arjuna is saying, I want to run to the forest. I want to give up everyone and everything, run to the forest and leave this war. And I want to become a sadhu. And because if I'm not going to do that, instead, I'm going to get this kingdom. And when I get this kingdom, the big problem is going to be that I'd have killed everyone that I want to enjoy the kingdom with. Because everyone is all my relatives, I'm going to have to kill them all. Then I'm going to enjoy the kingdom. So the way Arjuna is thinking is either I get the kingdom or I'm going to run to the forest. Those were the two things. And Krishna says to Arjuna, well, hold on a second, you've missed something. And this is the point about our friends, our association, and who we take advice from. Arjuna's taking advice from Krishna. And when we have spiritually minded friends or spiritually minded people in our life who can guide us, what we'll see is we may come to them and say, hey, I've got option A and I've got option B. Which one shall I take? And generally, what can happen, and this is what Krishna does to Arjuna, he gives Arjuna, hey, why don't you think about option C? Which Arjuna had never thought about. Why don't you think about, why don't you fight this war but not for the kingdom? Fight this war but not for the kingdom. Fight this war because that's your dharma. That's your duty. And don't worry about the result. Just do your duty. Just do your duty. And do it for me. Do mam anushmaram yudhyacha. Remember me and fight. He's saying to Arjuna, remember me and fight. So do your duty, but do it for me and remember me while you're doing your duty. This is what I want you to do. This is what I want you to do. And it gives Arjuna a totally different perspective. So I'm going to fight this war, but I'm not going to be attached to the result. Now just think about what this could mean for us day to day. It means when I go to work, I'm going to go to work and work because I love my job. How many of us have worked or are still working because of the amount of salary that we're going to get from that job, from that occupation? And when we work, because when we change job, oh, if I change job, I'll get a 10,000 salary rise. So many of my friends have done this. I'm going to change job and I'll get 30,000. If I change job, I'm going to get to move to this place and I'm going to get to buy this. And then you think, well, but I don't see you anymore. Yeah, because I'm always at work. Are you happy? No. Because I'm always at work. When do you sleep? Oh, I take sleeping pills. Oh, okay. So the point is if we work because of a specific result, we may not relish our life. If we're thinking the result is what's going to relish, is what's going to give us happiness, then this is the biggest illusion that Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna to come out of. He's saying to Arjuna, there's no happy. You're not going to feel happy just because you got the result of the kingdom. You'll feel happy when you did your duty for a higher purpose. You did your duty for a higher sake. So when we raise our children and we're raising them for a selfish, we can say sometimes, can it be for a selfish reason, or are we raising them for a higher purpose? When we are going to work, are we going to work for just the results business, or are we going to work because this is me? This is me. I am naturally this person. I remember I qualified as an accountant, and I went through a phase of staying in a job, then leaving, going to another accounting practice, staying in the job, leaving, going to another practice, staying in another job, going to another accounting practice. I kept thinking, oh, that one I didn't like the boss, that one, oh, they make me do management accounting, but I prefer financial accounting. Then I went, oh, no, actually I don't. And then afterwards I realized, actually, my nature is to teach. That's my nature. Because I spent 1.5 years living at the Hare Krishna temple, and when I was living there, I got to do a lot of Bhagavad Gita presentations, got to teach Bhagavad Gita, and I realized I actually really like teaching. This is my nature, this is what I like to do. So then when I decided to then come back home, I thought, okay, so I decided to come back home, and then I went back into practice, and that's when I started hopping around from one practice to the next. And I thought, hold on, I like teaching, and I actually enjoy accounting. I just don't like being in an office and being told what to do. So what might work is if I teach accounting. So then I applied to get a job as an accounting tutor. Now I get to teach accounting, and I can honestly say, when it's Sunday night, I have no fear that it's going to be Monday morning and I have to go to work, because I feel that my job is very much me. When I go to the classroom and I start teaching accounting, I feel I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing in this world, which is to teach. So whether it is teaching accounting or teaching Bhagavad Gita, I feel that my nature is to teach, my occupation is to teach. So if I'm told to teach, it's like it's very natural. So if someone said to me, Kunal, it's Saturday, on this Saturday, if you're free, can you come and teach this? It's because it's so natural to me. I'm like, yeah, if I've got the time, and if I'm not, yeah, I'll come, because it's natural to me. So if we find what is natural to us, then we are able to do our duty without worrying about the result. And naturally, if we're good at what we do, and if we love what we do, someone will pay us a good salary anyway, because they like the fact that you can do something you're good at. So that will happen. The money will follow. So we don't have to worry that, oh, but I just like to paint. Well, if we really like to paint and we paint really well, someone will pay a lot of money for that painting, and you'll still be able to pay your bills. So if we do something that is inherently us, that's inherently us, then what will happen? We will feel satisfied. If we go to work thinking that, oh God, some people get to work and they're like, I can't wait till my day ends. And I'm like, well, you just got there. You get a message at 9:20 from a friend or a relative, got to work, only 8 hours to go. I'm like, God, that's going to be a long 8 hours. So this is something that we can really think about. And Krishna is saying to Arjuna, you are a Kshatriya, you're a warrior, go and fight. You'll be happy because you're doing your dharma, but just don't do your dharma for yourself. Do your dharma for a higher purpose. And this is the thing about getting friends, spiritually minded guides. Because if we have spiritually minded friends in our life, spiritually minded guides in our life, they can give us option C, which we never thought about. So many times in the last 20 years when I have felt that life is getting tough, life is getting difficult. It's not that when we become a devotee, or we start going to the temple, that suddenly you've gone ding, and you're like, a sadhu straight away. Some people think that should happen, but it doesn't. It would be good if it did. And even actually when I was leaving, I was having a little bit of an argument with my wife, and she said to me, "You're now going to speak on Bhagavad Gita, and right now you're talking to me like this." I was thinking, yeah, because I'm not there yet. But we're all trying. We're all trying. We're all trying. And I was like, why do you have to test me now? Can't you test me when I come home? So the thing is that if we have guides, I can honestly say that when I felt down, when I felt that life is getting really difficult, when I felt that my lower nature is consuming me, I've always had really good people, really good friends, really good spiritually minded people that I can speak to that have really given me option C. And living those principles, understanding all of that, always helps me take that next step. Has always helped me take that next step. It's not that we become a devotee and in 2 days you will no longer feel jealous of someone. Wouldn't it be such an amazing life if we never felt jealous of anyone? Wouldn't that be nice? I saw someone driving in with a Tesla and I was like, ooh, nice. Whoever that was, please pass the keys now. But you know, we have that. We have that. Wouldn't that be nice? But what we learn and what we begin to understand is there's a life beyond others. In the sense, life beyond wanting what others have. So I need to clarify what I mean. We want to serve others because that will give us satisfaction, but we don't want to bring others down. We don't want to desire what they have, because by desiring what they have, Krishna explains to Arjuna, you won't get to the Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma platform. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma. The Bhagavad Gita is not just a book. The Bhagavad Gita is not just a conversation. When I was 18, 19, I was out with some friends, and when I was out with some friends, I'm going to try and not say everything. I was out with some friends, and someone said, "Hey, you know Hinduism?" And I was like, I was one of those who was very proud of being Hindu, very proud of being Gujarati, and at the same time didn't know much about what I was proud of. I was like, I'm proud of it, but I don't know why I'm proud of it. I've got the bag, in my school bag was a big Om sign, But then I didn't know what it meant. I just had a big Om sign. It was like fashion, And I think, but this is when I first decided to pick up the Bhagavad Gita. So one friend of a friend said to me, "Hey, guess what? Us Hindus, we're so lucky. Because Lord Shiva, he smokes ganja." Honestly, this is true. He said, and I was like, no, really. And then I thought, okay, you know what? And then the next day, my parents were out, and my friends came to my house, and we may have been doing something, not gonna say, and then I said to myself, you know what? I think I've got a Bhagavad Gita in my house. Remember what that person was saying yesterday? She said it must be in the Bhagavad Gita. So I went to the Gita, and I had Bhagavad Gita as it is. And I went to the back, I went to the index. And I went to the index and I searched marijuana. And it was there. So I went to the text. I went to the text, and it said that, yes, even some people try to imitate great personalities. But Lord Shiva is capable of drinking poison and leaving it in his neck. Are we capable of doing this? No. And I thought, what an answer. I thought, wow, this book is and I didn't think then this book is a living theology, but now looking back, I'm like, wow, Bhagavad Gita is a living theology. I had a question and it was answered. And then I just flicked some pages, And the first verse I ever read of the Bhagavad Gita was Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Abandon all varieties of religion and surrender unto me. Then I just closed the book and I put it back. I'm like, I'm not ready for that. So I put the book back. But the Bhagavad Gita is a living theology, because when we have a question and we approach the Bhagavad Gita with sincerity, despite whatever state you may be in, whether you're depressed, happy, sad, going through a difficult time, if we approach the Bhagavad Gita with sincerity, the Bhagavad Gita will speak to us. And if we read the Bhagavad Gita and it doesn't speak to us in the way that we feel satisfied with the answer, Krishna is saying, approach a spiritually minded person who'll be able to bring it out for you. That's the Bhagavad Gita. That's how we can understand that this theology, this philosophy is real. This Bhagavad Gita takes us beyond our mind, our senses, and our sentiments. See, we imagine having a beautiful body, but a very depressed mind. It doesn't, it just doesn't help. It's like you could have the best body. You go to the gym, you eat the right foods, you avoid the jalebis, and you eat the nice mug bhat. But if you avoid the foods that are not good, you eat the foods that are good, and we do our exercise, we have a beautiful body, but if our mind is in a bad place, if our mind is in a bad state, that body can't do much, because the mind cannot take that beautiful body and let that beautiful body reach its potential. So Krishna's taking Arjuna beyond the mind, beyond the sentiments. We live our life with so many sentiments, isn't it? We can, and especially, I can say it, especially us Gujaratis, we're quite sentimental, aren't we? Which is okay. Sentiment has a place. But our life can't be governed by sentiments. Because when we allow our life to be governed by sentiments, what happens is we don't let intelligence take the role it should take. So Krishna is saying to Arjuna, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, he's saying to Arjuna that, yes, you have a body, you have a mind, go beyond the mind, but go beyond your sentiments. Go beyond your sentiments. You are feeling sentimental that they are your relatives. But something higher is your dharma. Something higher is your dharma. And how often do we not do the right thing because we are sentimentally attached? Kevu lagse. Apre aam kare to kevu lagse. And then we get so stuck in kevu lagse. We get so stuck in what will they think? We get so stuck in what will they think of me, that we don't do the right thing. And then what happens? We feel frustration. But why are we frustrated? Not because of them. We're frustrated actually because we didn't do the right thing. We got stuck in kevu lagse. We got stuck in what will they think of me? And the sad thing about what will they think of me? They're probably not thinking of you. We think everyone's thinking of us. But they're not. They've got their own life. And even if they are thinking of us, who cares? In the nicest way possible. In the nicest way possible. What can we can't even control our own mind. Now we want to control someone else's. Good luck. We can't even control our own mind. And we want to try and control what someone else will think. Or if I do this, how many times have you done this? But if I do this, they're going to think this. And if they think that, then that will happen. And then this one will do that. Na ena karta jawa dene. Not jawa ya, bas. Na jaya ve kharab lagse. So, I'm not saying don't go to things or go to things, but what we're trying to say is think about everything we do before we act, and that's sattva gun. What Krishna is saying to Arjun, think before you act. Mode of passion, Rajagun, is act and then think. You act and then you realize later that was the wrong thing. And mode of ignorance, Tamagun, is you didn't act properly, you didn't even think about it afterwards, and you're still behaving foolishly. But mode of goodness is think and then act. And if we think what is the right thing to do, am I caring for myself? Am I caring for others in the most holistic way possible? Then I'll act on that. And in this world, we're not going to be able to please everyone. Arjuna couldn't please everyone. He had to kill some of his relatives. We're not going to be able to please everyone. So what we can do is just do the right thing. Just do the right thing. And doing the right thing is different in every situation. So if we have spiritually minded people who can help us and guide us, they will help us to see Jnana Chakshus, they'll help us, Shastra Chakshus, which is see the world through the eyes of the Shastra. See the world with the eyes of knowledge. And when we see the world with the eyes of knowledge, when we see the world with the eyes of the scriptures, then we feel enlivened. And when we are enlivened in our life, when we are feeling satisfied in our life, we will just want to do the right thing. And we will feel happiness in doing the right thing. And the result may come, the result may not come, but we will feel happy inside. And that is what people in this world are now getting prescription after prescription for. To just take away this low feeling. But we can get this by really going deep within ourselves and becoming aware of where our faults are, and then trying to overcome them spiritually. So the first step is become aware. Become aware. That Tesla came in. Did I feel jealous? Yes. Okay. I'm aware of that. Now that I'm aware of it, I can release it. If I'm not aware of it, God, look how much they're wasting money on a car like that. They can't even afford a car like that, and they bought that. We just say something to bring them down. Because by bringing them down, we're thinking we're bringing ourselves up. By bringing them down, we think we're bringing ourselves up. Or we go and buy something we can't afford to impress someone else. What's the saying nowadays? Make a statement. Like, to who? So make a statement. But then you make a statement, you're trying to impress others who you think are getting impressed, but they're not getting impressed, because what they're doing is what we're actually trying to do is invoke the envy of someone else. And when we invoke the envy of someone else, what are they going to do? They're going to try and bring us down. So we're not merely making a statement, we're just inviting trouble, actually. But and I'm not saying don't buy the Tesla. Please go ahead, I want to get one myself. But do it for the right reasons. Do it for the right reasons. Don't do it don't do anything in this world for superficial or artificial reasons. And Krishna is saying to Arjuna, don't be artificial. You want to renounce, you want to go to the forest and meditate and be a sadhu, you are being artificial, because you, Arjuna, are not designed to sit in the forest and meditate all day. You know what Krishna says to Arjuna? He says to Arjuna, if you sit in the forest and you see some injustice, you see someone not being protected, you're going to get up and you're going to start fighting. Because you're going to do your dharma, but in the wrong way. Because your dharma is your dharma. So you are going to do what you're naturally meant to do. So do it here, because this is where you're meant to do it. Don't go to the forest where things are meant to be peaceful and start fighting with people over there, because that's not the place. Because your nature is your nature. It's like you're on an aeroplane, and if someone is sick, do we have a doctor on board? And Divyesh, why does this? Why do they say, do you have a doctor on board? Because doctors in their nature, not only are they medically trained, their nature is to care and to look after. So then so even if they're off duty, they still go and do their dharma. Because that's their nature. Like I was saying, my dharma is like, I feel like I'm a teacher. So my mom says to me, money lecture nahi de. Isn't it, mom? Money lecture nahi de. That's my mom's favorite line too. So naturally we are going to do our dharma. Krishna is saying to Arjuna, do your dharma, do it in the right way, do it for me and remember me. Do it for me and remember me while we are doing our dharma. How long do I have, Divya's Pai? I don't know. Pratibha? No, okay. And is that including questions? Okay. We'll take some questions. Okay, fine. Oh, tea, very nice. Okay. So, and if anyone has any questions, actually maybe at this point we can. But if anyone has any comment, or question or reflection from anything we've been saying so far, it would be nice to hear. Dinesh Bhaiya, something? Okay. Okay, so everyone's okay? Should we carry on? No questions, no comments, no corrections? You're so kind. Okay, so we do our dharma, we do it for the right reason. And we approach, so we're saying so far, we said we're going to approach spiritually minded people, because when we approach spiritually minded people, we'll get advice that is based on what Krishna is saying to Arjuna. Because whatever Krishna is saying to Arjuna is extremely uplifting. So he's saying to Arjuna, look, you are my cousin, but you're more than my cousin, you are a soul. And it's the same for all of us. We are a soul. We're a soul in this journey. And on this journey, we have come across many different bodies. Many different bodies. And life after life after life, we have been in this material world. And we've got to this place of human life. What a benediction. Human birth. What a benediction. And the Shastra, the Vedanta Sutra starts, Atho Jigyasu Brahma. The Vedanta Sutra starts with understanding that I am spirit. And if we think about these scriptures, the Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, and we're coming to the culmination of the Bhagavad Gita, the fruit of the Bhagavad Gita at the end, it's the result of a conversation. And this conversation is pure wisdom. It's said that a small mind will discuss people. It's said an average mind will discuss events. And that a great mind will discuss wisdom. So small mind discussing people. Anyam keru. Yeah, we know that. Yeah. Average mind will discuss events. Event Lohana ma, Damecha Holma, Kitla Janaiva. And the great minds will discuss wisdom. That point in the Bhagavad Gita, I'm going to apply it like this. How are you going to apply it? Sometimes we are shy to discuss wisdom with those that are close to us. Does that happen to anyone? Yeah, we're shy, like a relative or a friend, or it's like we're going to go home and we're going to say, what did you think of that? And in the Bible, how are we going to apply this in our life? Just don't die. Dapat mana suka lah cawe. Chai pina wija. You know, it's like. But the reason we're shy is because there's many different reasons. One is sometimes we try and do it too directly. You know, we have to be intelligent. Krishna doesn't just say, here's the Bhagavad Gita, and now all of us just leave home, and all of us just become Mamekam Sharnam, take it in the wrong way. All of us just dedicate ourselves just one-to-one with Krishna, leave our family, leave our friends. He doesn't say that. He says, you carry on doing your duty, you carry on doing your dharma, but you remember me. So carrying on doing your dharma means you look after everyone around you. We have responsibility for those around us. And we have to be intelligent to know how is it that we can engage with others spiritually. The fact that we are all here means we have some inclination to spirituality. Whether it's a little bit, whether it's a lot and you haven't told your family it's a lot, so you're just pretending it's a little bit, or it's medium, or there is some inclination to understand spiritual knowledge. That's why we're all here. That's why we're all here. So then, naturally, because we have an inclination, when we have an inclination for something, we want to be able to discuss that with someone. Otherwise, it becomes dry. We can't keep things to ourselves. Krishna says to Arjuna, don't be a miser. He says to him, don't be a miser. Don't keep this knowledge to yourself. And he says, at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, what he says to Krishna, he says to Arjuna, the one who explains the science of the Bhagavad Gita to someone else, no one is more dear to me than he. Right at the end. So he's encouraging, Krishna is encouraging us to share the Bhagavad Gita with others, because that will give us happiness. You'll be able to uplift someone else, and by uplifting someone else, we can uplift ourselves. Magical. In the material world, if I give something to someone, I no longer have it. Spiritually, you give some spiritual wisdom to someone, you get more yourself. It's amazing. You help someone spiritually, you get helped yourself. Tamstateva bhajamyam. Why tamstateva bhajamyam? What's he saying? Krishna is saying to Arjuna that as one surrenders unto me, I reciprocate accordingly. So the more attention we give Krishna, the more attention we give others around us spiritually, Krishna gives that much more attention to us. It's real. It's living. I honestly can say, from my own experience, that spiritual life is not just a speculation. Spiritual life is a living relationship with the divine. It's a living relationship. And if we engage in it, we'll understand it. If we don't engage in it, we won't understand it, and we'll think anyone who does understand it has gone cuckoo. So dhoti perach. We hear these things. But actually what happens is pratyaksha vagamam dharmyam. This direct perception of the self comes out. That I remember, so I was telling you, 2001, I started going to the temple, and I started, it was like a starting of a journey. I used to visit the temple, and I remember what I did was I took home some mara. So every day I would come home and I would chant at least one round, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Because like I told you at the time, my aunt was in hospital, she got diagnosed with cancer, and then straight away, it was very quick, she was going to have an operation. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do this chanting, and then hopefully when she has her operation, the operation will be successful. That was just like my thinking at that time. And when she did have an operation and it was successful, I thought, hey, I did that because I was doing the chanting. I didn't tell her that. But then what happened, for about 2.5 years, I was going to the temple, I was going to the temple and I was still living out there in the world. I was at university and I was doing lots of crazy stuff and I was still chanting. And then towards the end of 2003, I remember it was December 2003 and I had my ACCA exams coming and I started chanting a lot because I thought, oh my God, these exams are hard. So, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. And I kept chanting and I kept chanting and I kept chanting and I kept chanting. And I was chanting. I was in the I used to go to the library. I think if I did this at home, my parents would have gone really like, "What's this guy doing?" So I was in the library and I'd take breaks from studying and I would chant. And I remember one journey. So I used to go to Hertfordshire University to use their library. They're very kind. They let anyone use the library. So I used to use the library, and from my house to go to Hertfordshire Library, you kind of go past the Hare Krishna temple. So in the morning, I'd visit, and on the way back, so 7 a.m. I'd visit the temple, go to the library, then on the way back 7 p.m. I'd visit the temple and then go home. So it's like a big day of studying, and I'd do a lot of chanting. And I remember one journey home, and I had a picture of Radha Krishna in my car, and I remember getting in the car, and I had a kirtan in my, by this time I was getting, so I've got a picture of Krishna, my CDs had changed from Eminem to kirtan CDs, and then I put the CD out, the CD was playing, and I was driving home, and there was a picture of Radha Krishna, and I was feeling something in my heart that I've never ever experienced ever. I was just like, there was some happiness, some bliss, and I was thinking, I've got an exam, I'm not meant to be feeling happy, but it was like it was happiness I couldn't describe. And I looked at that picture, and I'll never forget, I looked at that picture of Krishna and I said, you are doing something to me. I remember looking at it, you're doing something to me. And I remember thinking to myself, I need to act on this now. And I remember it was December, and I called my friend, and we had a lot of plans for New Year's Eve and Christmas Eve, and I said, hey, I'm not going to be able to come because I want to read the Bhagavad Gita. I remember saying that to him. And that New Year's Eve in December, I went to the Hare Krishna temple and I went for kirtan. And then and then my friends went out to their party. And at the end of the kirtan, and at the end of their party, they came back to Northwood Station. I picked them up, I dropped them home, and I went, and I remember driving back home thinking, that was the best New Year's I've ever had. And I also remember thinking, when I dropped them home, I didn't miss anything. I didn't miss anything. And for me, that was, the beginning. That was the real beginning of, okay, now things are going to change in my life. But those changes that happened in my life, I can honestly say, has brought me so much satisfaction and contentment in my heart. Honestly can say that. But Krishna is giving this opportunity to everyone. He's giving this opportunity to everyone. It doesn't mean we're going to do everything right. Because what happens, and we should really learn from others' mistakes. It says an intelligent person can learn from hearing and reading the right thing. The next type of intelligent person will learn from others' mistakes. And then the least intelligent person will learn from their own mistakes. And someone who doesn't learn from their own mistakes is just not intelligent at all. Isn't it sometimes we do the same thing over and over again, and then we're wondering, why is the result not changing? Well, you're doing the same thing over and over again. Someone said, isn't it, that this is the definition of insanity. You do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. That's insanity. So we do the same thing, but we learn in different ways. One mistake I kept making, I remember, which is I'm urging you and pushing you towards the Bhagavad Gita. I'm pushing you in the most gentlest way possible to take up more and more. We're all doing something, otherwise we won't be here. We can go deeper and deeper into the studies of the Bhagavad Gita, because the Bhagavad Gita has got so much nourishment, so much fulfillment. It's the ultimate self-development book. There's so many books out there on self-development. All of them, all of these books have got, you can see the origin of them is in the Gita. You can really see it. And one mistake I kept making was when we become spiritually inclined, we can become over fanatic. And when we become over fanatic, what can happen is we start to feel that we're better than everyone else. And this is a big problem when we take up spiritual life immaturely. And this is a mistake I made. So what happens is, when we immaturely practice spiritual life, what happens is, oh look, I'm so great. I read the Bhagavad Gita. I chant this mantra. I wear tilak. I wear a dhoti. What do you do? Oh, you still go to the pub? You know, when we do things like this, we're basically saying that I'm someone and you're no one. So we're actually worse in one sense, because we become arrogant. All these lower natures actually start to come out in a different way. And then what happens? People start to think that this philosophy is making that person arrogant. This Bhagavad Gita is making this person arrogant. And I can see it in my own journey that for many, many years I was doing this. And actually, when we start to practice in a mature way, how do we practice in a mature way? By doing what Krishna is saying to Arjuna: love everyone. Love everyone. Our prayers may not be answered in the way we want them to be answered. It's like this. My daughter, my older daughter, she keeps wanting a certain thing for her birthday, but she didn't get it. What does she come with? You don't love me. So why? Because the child is basing their love on that toy. They're thinking love is there if I get the toy. So similarly, we come to spiritual life and we think, okay, Krishna, here's my shopping list. We have a bit of a shopping list. Some of us are bigger than others, but we have a bit of a list, isn't it? My son must get to haberdashers. My daughter must get married before she's 23. My mum and dad must live till 95 minimum. We have a bit of a shopping list. And when the shopping list isn't answered, we think, he doesn't love me. Just like the child who didn't get the toy thinks my parents don't love me. Similarly, when Krishna doesn't give us what we want, we think he doesn't love me. But Krishna is like the ultimate chess player. And the ultimate chess players, they're thinking 7 or 8 moves ahead. Isn't it? They're like, this one will do that, this one. So when Krishna's answering our prayers, he's thinking 7 or 8 moves ahead. He's not thinking of the one thing that you wanted. He's thinking 7 or 8 moves ahead, what is best for us. That's Krishna. That's the ultimate friend. Suridam Sarva Bhutanam. I am the ultimate well-wisher of all living entities. He's our well-wisher. How many people in this world are our well-wishers? If we have 5, 10 people in this world who are actually our well-wishers, they want the best for us. They just want the best for us. They have no negativity towards us. They have no anger towards us. They have no envy towards us. They just want what's best for us. And how are we going to get well-wishers? By becoming one ourselves. It's reciprocation. The world gives us what we give out. If we become a well-wisher to others, we will get so many well-wishers. If we are envious of others, we will get negativity coming towards us. If we are gossiping about others, gossip will happen about us. And if it's not happening about us, we'll keep thinking it's happening about us, that it will upset us to the same amount anyway. So if we do the right thing, don't gossip. Why? Why don't gossip? Because it doesn't do anyone any favors. If we do the right thing, which is don't cheat others, you may not get the result, but we'll find happiness, and we're looking for happiness. So the way to find that happiness is if we become deeply spiritually, the word I'm looking for is deeply spiritually committed. Spiritual commitment means that the priority of my life is going to take, the priority of my life is becoming broadened. That's what we're saying. The priority of my life is becoming broadened. And everything else that's going on can continue to go on, but with a broader perspective. See the world in the view of eternality. Seeing the world in the view of eternality means that there's another life. And because there's another life, I don't want to come back and repay for things I did in this life. Why don't I just do the right thing and get the ultimate happiness, which is at the end of this life, and which is what Krishna is saying to Arjuna, Mam ekam sharanam vraja. If you surrender unto me, I shall take care of all your sinful reactions. I'll take care of all of them. Why? I promise you this, because you are my very dear friend. You're my very dear friend. And he's saying this to Arjuna, but he's also saying this to all of us. He's saying this to all of us. You're my very dear friend. I want you. He wants us. He wants you. He wants me. He wants us so much. He's just waiting. Just like when the father sees the son run away from home, the father is eagerly waiting. When will my son come back and help me with the business? So similarly, Krishna sees that we've kind of come to this world and we're looking for name, fame, adoration, distinction. We're looking for wealth. We're looking for followers. We're looking for so many things. And whether we get them or don't get them, we're feeling frustrated. So Krishna is saying, just come back to me. And I will give you the wealth you're meant to have, the fame you're meant to have, the adoration you're meant to have. That will be good for you. I was thinking the other day, wouldn't it be nice if I was famous? Honestly, I was thinking, that would be amazing. Imagine I would come out of here and everyone, all of you would want my autograph and all of this. And then I step out of here and there's cameras outside. And it's like, oh my God, Kun Architecture gave a talk at the Dhammachalu. Oh my God. And I was thinking, if Krishna gave that to me, if Krishna gave that to me, if he gave that to me, that wouldn't be good for me. Because I personally aren't ready for that and be able to continue a spiritually deep life. But for someone else, he may give that because they can continue spiritually in a very strong way. So Krishna gives to us exactly what's good for us. Exactly what's good for us. The amount of recognition, the amount of wealth, the amount of the good relationships in our lives, the bad relationships in our lives, the challenges, the problems, the difficulties, the health, everything. He gives us everything in the most perfect way so that we can approach him in the most sincere way. So we have got to make the choice. The choice we have to make is, do we want him or not? And at the end, Krishna says to Arjuna, do as you wish to do. He gives all of this and says, do as you want to do. Do what you wish to do. And Arjuna says at the end, Krishna, all my doubts have been dispelled. All my doubts have been dispelled and I am ready to do your will. Whatever you want, I'm ready to do it. Because I know that I'm in the best hands. So in the Bhagavad Gita, to finish, we're going to say in the Bhagavad Gita, we find ourselves in the best of hands. We find ourselves in the hands of Krishna, in the hands of a person who will never let us down, in the hands of a person who, even if we think he's doing wrong by me, later on in life, when we look back, we'll see he did exactly what was right for me. When we have that faith, because we'll see it, even if we look now, sometimes I look back, and I'm going to finish on this as a nice little story. So, what happened for me once, when it was December 2004, this is when I went to the temple to stay for some time at that time as well. And I remember my exam results came out, and when my exam results came out, I passed 2 and I failed 1. And before that, I'd always passed every exam, my ACCA exam. And I passed 2 and I failed 1, so I was thinking, hold on a second. I start getting serious about you and I fail an exam. I was better off before. And I failed the exam. And then what happened, I had to retake that exam. And then I retook the exam. And then I looked back, and then while I was doing my ACCA, I was also doing a degree. And the degree result, whether you get a first or whether you get a 2-1, depended on the marks you got in your ACCA exams. So when I got to retake that exam, I got a high enough mark to then get a first. Because I think I got 64 when I retook it. Now, if I passed with 50, I would have got a 2-1. So then I was thinking, oh look, if I passed that, I would have got a 2-1. It's a simple example. And at that time I started thinking, why did Krishna do this to me? How could I fail an exam? And then 6 months to a year went by, I retook the exam, and then I got a better grade. And this is just the most simplistic of examples. That actually, when the going gets tough, remember, success is just around the corner. It's just there. Failure is not an obstacle to success, it's a stepping stone to success. And in this material world, problems and obstacles are all opportunities. And one thing that I'd like us all to meditate on as we live our daily life and we leave here and we go out of here is meditate. Which doors is Krishna closing for me? It becomes obvious, isn't it? Like you're trying something this way, that way, this way, that way. Which doors is he closing? Is he closing this door of a relationship with someone? Is he closing this opportunity for a new business with someone? Is he closing this opportunity for anything? Which doors is Krishna closing? And also meditate, which doors is Krishna opening? And wholeheartedly accept the doors that are being closed and really take the opportunities for the doors that Krishna is leaving open. And that way, we'll be able to Mam Anushmaram Yudhyacham, remember Krishna and continue with our daily life. So I'll end here. It's 9 o'clock, and thank you so much for your time. Sure. If anyone has any comments or questions, please feel free.
Why are there so many names of God?
Why are there so many names of God? It said in one prayer, Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis. Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis, which means in your holy names, in all your different names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. So by addressing Krishna in different names, what we are doing is we are addressing all the different energies of God. And when we address the different energies of God, we get that energy ourselves. The problem is, in this material world, we need so much variety. Isn't it? We need variety. If you have a Twix chocolate today, a Twix chocolate tomorrow, on the third day Twix nahi khaya, geka lekha do bounty khaya. We need something different. We need something different. So Krishna gives us different names that we can address him by, because he knows we need the variety. And that way we can still invoke his energy.
Any more questions and answers? Yeah, go on.
I just would request you about karma.
About karma?
Because like you tried to say, that you fail in one of the exams.
Yes.
You came back after 6 months. So is there a connection to karma and karma in general?
Yes, thank you. So the question is about karma, and just a general question on karma, and a question on like when the things don't work out, is it to do with karma? And when things do work out, is it to do with karma? Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't work out, and after 6 months you say, well, thank goodness it didn't happen.
Yes. So the wonderful thing is, We have our karma, and our karma means the reaction to our actions. There's many definitions of karma, but I think the karma we're speaking about is when we get reaction for our different actions. Is that right? Yeah? So, karma is a function of cause and effect. But also beyond cause and effect, karma has a purpose. And the purpose behind karma is to uplift us. There's a purpose behind the karma. So similarly, like if we look at a jail, what's happening in the jail is a punishment for a crime. The effect and the cause. The cause of the crime, the effect is the prison sentence. But the purpose of the jail is what? What's the purpose of the jail? To reform the prisoners. To reform the prisoners so that they can reform, and then when they're in good behavior, they've seen that they've changed their character, they can be allowed back into society. So similarly, in one sense, what karma is, it's an opportunity for reformation. The purpose behind karma is for upliftment. So when we have good karma, which is good reactions, can we still stay humble? It's a test. Can we still stay humble? Can we still have good relationships? And when we have negative reactions, bad reactions, can I take the opportunity? How do we know how to take the opportunity? We can ask ourselves two questions. One question, what does Krishna want me to learn from this? What does Krishna want me to learn? And the second question is, how does Krishna want me to react? What does Krishna want me to learn? How does Krishna want me to react when things are going bad? And when things are going good, can we still stay humble? Does that make sense? Does that answer the question? Jai Shri Krishna. Does anyone else have any comments or questions? Yes, at the
Is there
back.
any relation between what you live in this life to the next birth?
Thank you. So, is there any relation between what happens in this life to our next life? Yeah, it's a very good question. If we were born all with a clean slate, with nothing in the past, we'd all look the same, we'd all have the same, we'd all be the same. So the whole purpose of karma is that some karma is exhausted in this life and some is carried over to the next life. And what Krishna is saying to Arjuna is, don't take another birth here. He's saying, Sarva Dharman Paritija Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. Just surrender to me and I will take all your sinful reactions. I will take them all. I will take them all. And then you can go, Param Gatim, you can go to the supreme destination. And that supreme destination is Vaikunta. Vaikunta means, Vai means without, Kunta means anxiety. The place without anxiety. How can we go to a place without anxiety? Krishna speaks in the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 17 that one who is expert in insulting others is in the mode of ignorance. Well, who is someone who's expert in insulting others? Someone who gets happiness out of putting someone else down. This happens so much. It happens, sadly, it happens so much that if you watch 5 minutes of, I borrowed my dad's car today. And when I borrowed my dad's car today, I was listening to Prime Minister's questions because my dad keeps on